Recording in progress. Okay, thank you for telling me that. Zoom. So welcome again, everyone. So I am your host and moderator, Jody Ann Jones. I'm the Education USA Advisor at the U.S. Embassy. Today, I have the esteemed privilege of being joined by my colleague, Mrs. Bernadette Hutchinson, our Cultural Affairs Specialist at the Embassy. Bernadette will be walking us through the steps for applying for the Fulbright graduate student program. And let me just mute the YouTube stream so I'm not hearing the echo. Bernadette, whenever you're ready, my friend.
Thank you, Jody. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm just going to go through. Am I muted? No. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to go through the Fulbright graduate student program application steps and what the program is about. I hope it will be an informative session and we'll have good questions at the end. So let's start. What is the program about? The Fulbright Foreign Student Program is an exchange program funded by the US State Department and optimally and essentially the US taxpayers. So who is eligible? Persons all over the world who are graduates of universities are eligible for the program, graduates of local universities, not graduates of US universities. So the persons ideally should not have studied in the US at all. And this is an opportunity for them to have an experience in the USA. We're going to cover other questions such as, is this a degree program? What does the program grant cover? And when do applications open? But let's go through. All right, the Fulbright Graduate Student Program is one that enables graduate students, young professionals, and artists from abroad, as in countries outside of the US, to study and conduct research in the United States. What does this mean for you? It means that you should have a bachelor's degree from an accredited Jamaican tertiary institution. Typically, we get a lot of applications from UA, but we are very open to getting more applications from schools such as UTech, NCU, any other tertiary institution that is qualified, the Micah University College, those sorts of schools. Give me 1 minute, let me share my screen. I'm so sorry. Apologies for that. So let's move on. So applicants and eligible applicants actually should be Jamaican citizens currently residing in Jamaica. Even if you are a Jamaican citizen or you have dual citizenship and you're residing in the USA, we prefer that the candidates, as I mentioned before, have very limited experience in the United States in terms of residing there, visiting, or spending extensive periods of time in the US prior to taking on this opportunity. We are looking for persons who are ideally committed to Jamaica's national development. The whole idea is that you will go study and return and help to build Jamaica through the skills and knowledge that you obtained while studying in the US. We also expect that you will have a commitment to the development of your own leadership skills and also working towards building the country and paying it forward through alumni activities and encouraging others to apply and participate in the program. It is a degree program, yes it is, and we have the persons who participate in the program focusing on studying for a master's degree or a PhD. It is a very competitive program. Each year we're awarding 2 to 3 scholarships, grants to the applicants who are successful. And so it's a very serious program, and we expect that if you're applying for a PhD in particular, you need to be very focused as to what it is you want to do, have decided, have tried to reach out to some advisors in the particular schools that you're interested in, especially, and that will help to make you stand out as a strong applicant when we're reviewing your applications in the system. We expect also that the applicants for this program will do the graduate record examination, or the GRE, or the graduate management admission test, the GMAT, with the application or prior to the application period, so you can submit the scores along with the actual application. These are standard tests that are often required by the best schools for easier matriculation, or the idea that you will, at least having an idea that you will be able to manage the work. These exams are similar to what we would locally have for, say, CSEC, CAPE, that sort of thing, just to show what it is you know and what you're capable of. The program grant includes a J1 visa, which is the particular visa that is issued through the US Consulate in Kingston to participate in the program. Most of you have or would have applied for a B1, B2 visa, which is the regular or typical visitor visa. The J1 is a special visa issued for exchanges and has to be funded in a particular way. The US government funds this particular visa, and some persons who would have gone on a work and travel program would have a similar visa because it's about exchanges. But this one in particular for the Fulbright program is definitely funded directly by the government of the United States. We will also cover airline travel to and from the United States, to and from, meaning at the beginning of the program and at the very end of the program. So while you're there, if you're studying and you want to come to Jamaica, or you have a need to travel elsewhere, those trips will not be covered by the grant. There is also tuition assistance that we provide in the form of a grant for up to 2 years. Tuition assistance is also negotiated with the schools that are participants as host institutions in the program. So it's a partnership. It's a partnership between the US government and the schools themselves that will receive you. You will also, as a Fulbright grantee, receive a monthly stipend and a book allowance for the study period. The book allowance typically happens at the beginning of each of the 2 years. You get enough money to cover what you need essentially for books. And there may be a little bit there for purchasing a device, an electronic device that you would need. And as well, I said, a monthly stipend, which would help to cover your living expenses. It's not for you to live it up and be, be partying on campus, but it's enough to keep you well accommodated, fed, and well prepared for travel and so forth while you're studying. Let me see. My apologies, I'm blocking one of my points. And as well, there's also health insurance, which is basic coverage through a group plan. This means that most likely we'll also have to be able to pay a bit of the fees upfront, but it's a good enough plan that most students are covered for what it is that they would experience. We typically tell our grantees that certain things should be done before going. So if you have major dental work, major things that you need to cover in terms of if you have a pre-existing condition, then you should try and get that covered through your own insurance here, as well as get care for that and recommendations prior to going on the program. Applications typically open in February of each year, and we start announcing the application period. Applications are to be completed in advance of the actual travel portion of the program, and that's a given. We have to see what it is that you are about and what it is you say you want to do. We actually have a placement process that is a year in advance of when it is you say you need to travel or you need to go study. let me backtrack and clear up that point. We open our applications in February of each year. So by February 2022, we will have applications open. Applications typically close by the end of May or very early June. Depending on what it is we're seeing, we may extend into June. Once the applications close, we review and shortlist and invite persons for interviews. Once you are selected at interviews, however, you are not traveling to the US in August 2022. What will happen is we will start a placement research process that takes basically an academic year. What happens is that when you are selected for nomination in August 2022, you will actually travel once you're successfully placed for your program in August 2023. So basically, it's a year-long process of trying to place you in the right institution, finding the right program, the right fit for you. It is tailored to your objectives, your study goals, and what it is you say you want to achieve. For more information, of course, you can check out our website at the link on your screen, and you can also email kingstonexchanges@state.gov. We have a team that will answer questions on anything that is Fulbright related, and our telephone numbers are also listed there. You can call and let us talk with you and walk you through what it is that you may be concerned about. And pretty much that's it. That's the Fulbright program in a nutshell.
All right, thank you, Bernadette. So I see we have several students in our audience. Do you guys have any questions for Mrs. Hutchinson? No questions? So I see some of my undergraduate prospects. So I know, this is probably 4 or 5 years from now, but it's never too early to start planning, especially for a program as competitive as a Fulbright. So if you have any questions about the application process, now is the time to ask. All right, let me ask you this. What are you guys interested in studying? All right, I'm seeing Zeta, Nicholas, Ashanti. Drop your questions in the Q&A or in the chat. Is there a cap on the value of tuition? Okay, Bernadette?
Well, let me say that there is, because it's a global program, there is a cap in the sense that we are trying to spread the opportunities as much as we can. So we wouldn't necessarily, if there was no cap, maybe you would have 10 persons going to Yale or Harvard based on tuition costs. And the rest of the world would just be a very small group of persons going, and it would be that much more competitive. What they have done is said to us, okay, each country gets a certain amount. I won't say what Jamaica gets, but each person gets a certain amount. Each country gets a certain amount for a certain number of candidates. And at this point, Jamaica typically, as I said, sends off 3 persons. The schools that are selected are good schools. We have the Ivy Leagues, and we have the mid-range schools, and we have had 1 or 2 private institutions who have participated, private universities, I should say, who have participated in the program. It really depends on your application and the strength of your application and what it is you say you want to do. Because it's so tailored, we approach several schools, and therefore there's an opportunity to get to places maybe you weren't even thinking of. A lot of the times people think we have to study in New York or Florida because it's close to family and it's convenient. But there are several schools all over the US that may offer really great programs in what you say you want to study. And you are then exposed to several of these programs in terms of the opportunities they're shared with you and, your walk through the process. So yes, there is a cap, and each year that is reviewed based on what tuition costs.
Okay,
Any
thanks
other
for that,
questions?
Bernadette. So what are some of the projects, while we wait on our audience to ask us questions, what are some of the projects that some of our past Fulbrighters have returned and worked on in Jamaica? I'm so sorry to put you on the spot. Don't beat me.
Fulbright alums have worked on returning to Jamaica. That's
right. Yeah. What are some of the or not necessarily
so
projects, but what are some of the areas?
Right. Thank you. I was gonna just correct and say our alumni are well placed. They are usually able to find employment pretty quickly after returning to Jamaica. Some of them want to be academics, and so there may be a delay because maybe the university doesn't have a staffing gap. We've seen that. But for the most part, for persons who are going into the various sectors, whether it be tourism, finance, service sector, education generally, we have a lot of persons who go off and work, especially in the financial area. They are pretty much recruited before they return. They are all over the place. We have persons who are basically leading companies in senior management all over the place. So we have several alum, and we would be more than willing to share as we go along when persons reach out, but well placed, very well placed.
Awesome. All right, so, and Dwayne has a question. Are there preferences for program choices? Meaning, is there a focus from a donor perspective as to which fields are being looked at or focused on for this and other years, and I guess upcoming years? So is there a particular, I'm guessing Dwayne is asking, are there any particular fields or majors that are looked upon,
Sure.
or that the Fulbright is looking for? And then Dwayne, you can correct me if I'm misinterpreting your question.
All right, so thanks. Jody was you said that she's correct. Fine. So yes, I would strongly suggest that before you apply, you take a look at our website. The truth is that when donor countries offer scholarships, take a look and see what it is that their policies have been focused on for the last maybe 5 years. See if they have a new policy document, just to see what it is they'd like to do in the country. And so it's always good to look. We have a list in terms of things, areas I should say, that can be studied. We do not touch medicine and we do not touch law. A big part of it, we have had one or two persons who have applied and they want to do nursing. But anything that involves a human subject, interaction with a human subject, is something that requires a whole ethics review. And there are several regulations that basically prohibit that sort of interaction and engagement in terms of Fulbright study. So we do not touch medicine and we stay away from law. We find that there are many lawyers in Jamaica. They have full access to great law programs. It's a different legal system in terms of what is required and how it is done. So if the aim is to bring you back to Jamaica to work and to impact the country, law is not ideal in terms of the study of law is not ideal. We have persons who have applied for master's type legal studies, but it has to be crafted in such a way that it ensures that you are getting a general sort of exposure. So if you have an interest in that area, you would have to really consult with us and for us to double check with Fulbright International to make sure that you're fitting into the mold that they'd like. But generally, we tend to stay away from law. We do not necessarily focus on MBAs either, because MBAs are very much available. MBA programs are very much available broadly in Jamaica. So we don't see the need to duplicate what is accessible here. Beyond that, it's a wide scope. But I would say to you, really seriously take a look and say, what is it that I'd be going to study in the US? Will it be of great impact to the country? Does the country have a need for certain things? We have somebody who went off to do forensic accounting. We don't have a lot of forensic accountants here. We've had persons go to do medical physics. We don't have a lot of medical physicians here. Medical physicists, I should say medical physicians, medical physicists. So we are careful about the opportunity and who we give the opportunity to. And so it's not just the persons who are going off to do something that is rare. We also look at what is needed in the country at this point. So we've had teachers go off to study, teachers in the early childhood sector go off to study. We've had persons who are artists. We've had for the last couple of years, we've had persons who do visual arts going off. You have to present yourself in such a way that you sell yourself, you sell the reason for why it is you need to go. Most persons would then say, you know what, artists just paint, or artists just sculpt, or artists, but there is a need at, say, the Edna Manley College for persons to be qualified to teach the upcoming generation. And so whoever is putting in their application for this program really needs to not just think about self, they really need to focus on what is best for Jamaica. If I were to get this opportunity, how would I be contributing to national development? How would I be contributing to my institution? How would I be contributing to my sector? What is different and special about what it is I want to do? Because we really are looking for those rising stars. I hope that helps.
Oh, wow. What about, Bernadette, what about computer science? So I know the embassy hosted our first artificial intelligence hackathon in October, this past October. What about the fields of AI, machine learning, emerging technologies? What are the opportunities to pursue a master's or PhD on the Fulbright?
The opportunity when we science, things that are happening, if we don't first prepare a lot of things, so someone is not hearing. Let me move a little closer. I'm not sure. You may need to check your own audio levels, but we hope that you're hearing a little bit more.
That was probably me. My apologies. My finger bounced the audio interface. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay. All right. Apologies from our side. So what I was saying in terms of computer science and cutting edge computer technologies, AI, the infrastructure behind it, 5G, all of that. Most of those discussions are happening, the most current discussions are happening in developed countries. And so it is for us an opportunity for us to help Jamaica to place persons who have an aptitude and who would do well in that area in programs to study that sort of subject matter. So there, as I said, there are areas that we may not have listed, but if you can make an argument for why it is that you should be allowed to do something that's very cutting edge, that's very, because we've been sending persons as long as I've known about the program and worked in the program, to do computer science in very cutting edge areas for a long time now. So computer science is definitely an area, and the study of technology and all of that. Those are definitely areas we have an interest in, but you have to make a strong argument. You can't just be the brightest person in the class and so let me go. It has to be more than about you and your desire to get a degree. It has to be placed within the context of how does my education and you paying for my education make Jamaica a better place and a better partner for the US in several areas.
Awesome. Thank you for
Any
that,
other
Bernadette.
questions?
So yes, we'd love to hear from you guys. I see here, okay, scroll up through these questions, these comments. All right, so does everyone know how to go about applying for the, so I dropped the link in the chat, the our website, jm.usembassy.gov. So I'll encourage you guys, even if you're not prepared to still apply for the Fulbright today, let's say you're a senior in high school or you're in your first year of university, I'd encourage you to still read through that website, read the instructions. The application needs to be complete, right? You need to take the GRE, and guess what? We offer free virtual GRE classes. So we help you prepare for the test that's required to apply. So with that being said, okay, I see a question popping in. Oh, wow. How many awards are available? That's a loaded question.
Well, not so loaded. We have routinely, we have 2 to 3 grants available each year for the Fulbright foreign student program. There's a twin program available for faculty members, and that provides 2 to 3 grants as well. So typically, in a particular year for the Fulbright program at large, 6, but for the Fulbright foreign student program, 3. So we have 3 grants. And as I said, it's very competitive, and it's competitive for a reason.
2.8 million. Yes, that sounds extremely competitive.
But
you really have to be the best of the best.
Process, and you should be, yes. And you know, sometimes it is, yes, we want the cream of the crop. We do want the cream of the crop. But we also are looking for persons who are not just pulling in A's and A pluses. We're looking for persons who understand that my brilliance, my individual brilliance, ought to impact my country, or to make a difference, not only in my life and my immediate family's life, but in the way my country develops. And so it's an important part of what it is we try to accomplish with the Fulbright program. It's for development purposes, and we have seen where most of our grantees, or the persons who go off to study, come back and spend most of their career building Jamaica. Persons do leave for whatever reason after whatever time, you know, people make choices based on family and needs, but most of our alumni are still present and living in Jamaica and building Jamaica in very positive ways.
Very nice, very nice. So guys, there you have it. I don't see any more questions in the Q&A or the chat. But please, let me drop the email address. It's Kingston Exchanges at State, right, Bernie? So I'm going to drop the
at state.gov.
The email at state.gov.
Kingston Exchanges at state.gov. And even if you're not ready and you have a cousin or a sibling who should have been on this talk, since they may be interested in graduate studies, somebody who has finished their first degree, share that information with them. We're more than willing to talk with persons and walk them through the process of application. And we look forward to receiving any questions or queries and helping you with your application.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bernadette. So guys, join us at 2 p.m. Remember, we have St. Francis College on at 2, and then Lynn University at 3 p.m. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and Study hard, guys. Remember, 2 to 3. Thank you, Bernadette.